Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca M. Holtz with the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome you to today's luncheon. So glad to have you. Really excited about all of our committee updates today and having a wonderful guest speaker, Congressman Joe Cunningham. Appreciate his time and that of his staff who helped pull this together today so that we could hear from our congressman. Now I want to introduce our president of the chamber, Shane Griffin. Hello, Shane.
Hey, Rebecca, very good to see you. Thank you very much to you and the support staff, Tamara included, to help us to put this together today. This is the August version of the luncheon. We are once again virtual, and we thank you very much for joining us here today. At this time, I will ask John Carroll to kick us off with the invocation and the pledge. Hey, John.
Thanks, Shane. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask you in this extraordinary time to help us, Lord, to be generous when we see others in need. Grant us the grace to be accepting when we're the ones in need. And Lord, that we would be gentle in our interactions with and service to others, that we would treat others as we would love to be treated ourselves. We raise up all those who are struggling through this pandemic and its many adverse effects. We give you thanks for the opportunity to gather here virtually. We make all these prayers in your most precious name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
John, thank you very much, sir. It's always great to see you, and thank you for kicking off the lunch here today. We thank you for your service to the board and your long-term membership in the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. Some opening remarks, if I may, before we hand it off to the committees for some updates. As Rebecca had mentioned, we have a lot going on. We are very excited about the events that we have coming up, and we look forward to talking to you about that. I want to once again reiterate my stance of last month. Your chamber is financially strong, thanks to the decisions that the board is making this year, and also thanks to the efforts of past boards and also Chris Dobbs, our president emeritus and our immediate past president, for the decisions he made over the 3-year term that he carried. We are in good shape as far as finances go, and we are grateful for that. And we thank you as the membership for continuing to believe in us and believe in our mission and continuing to believe in what we're doing and for being members. So we thank you very much for your membership here in the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. Again, your chamber is financially sound and continuing to move in a very strong direction. We do have some virtual content events that will continue to happen over the course of the next couple of months. We hope you are enjoying those. First of all, we've got a Monday with the mayor each Monday. We hope you're enjoying those, myself along with Mayor Haney and also Lauren Sims from the town of Mount Pleasant as well. And then John Carroll has his pivot every Tuesday, so we hope you're enjoying that too. And then we have other virtual events that are happening over the course of the week. If you have some suggestions on some information that you would like to know more about and to have some more information on, please feel free to email Rebecca at mountpleasantchamber.org, rebecca@mountpleasantchamber.org. I understand my sound is not cooperating here today, so at this time I will go ahead and toss it off to Lauren Sims at the town for an update from the town of Mount Pleasant. Hey, Lauren.
Hi, Shane. Thank you very much for that introduction, and hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Just a couple of brief updates from the town of Mount Pleasant and what town council has been working on over the past couple of months. We had a very productive council meeting this past month and had some first reading on a couple of big items, the first being our 10-year comprehensive plan. So that has received first reading along with the public hearing at the last council meeting. It will go on to final final reading next month, along with the building height map. Council worked for a long time making sure that they were comfortable with the height adjustments on that map. It is included in the comprehensive plan. Both of those items are available on our website, and I would encourage you to check it out, or you can email me and I'd be happy to provide that content to you. The other thing that received first reading at our council meeting this past month was a modification to the sign ordinance. And really those changes circled around the definition of a sign and the area in which a sign can be placed. So please make sure you check out that information if you are in the business of putting up signs or looking to replace signs or add ones for your business. Please make sure you are checking out the changes to the ordinance. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you on Mondays with the mayor every Monday. Please send your questions to us in advance. We'd be happy to answer them. And with that, I will turn it back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Lauren. Rebecca, can you give me a sound check? How does this sound? Does it sound better than it was when we started? Let me know how we're sounding. Much better? I'm getting
Very low on my end, Shane. I can barely hear you.
all right. Well, let me adjust my settings here quickly. So if you'll please bear with me. Apologies for the technical issues here. How's that sound, Lauren? Much better there?
A little bit better, but you're still pretty faint.
Well, then I got to put on the big voice, I guess, to make it sound much better. So how about that there? Does that sound much better?
That's better. Yep.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you for your patience with the technical difficulties here this morning. You know, we test these things before we start, and for whatever reason, the gremlins do show up, and we do apologize for that. If I may, I want to circle back around to my opening comments because you may not have heard them, and if you did, they were very badly garbled. So if you could just bear with me real quick, I wanted to remind you that your chamber continues to be on a strong financial footing thanks to the decisions that the board has made this year, and also the decisions that the board in years past and Christos has made. So we are grateful for your membership. We are grateful for the strong financial footing that we are on as a chamber, and we thank you for your membership. Reminder to check out the virtual content. As Lauren had mentioned, we do Monday with the mayor on Mondays with herself and also Mayor Haney. And then John Carroll on Tuesday has his pivot. And then as needed, we have other items that we do webinars on as well. If you have a topic that you would like more information on and would like us to do a webinar on, please feel free to email us. You can reach Rebecca with that information, Rebecca at mountpleasantchamber.org, Rebecca at mountpleasantchamber.org. We want to say thank you to our sponsors. We have a municipal sponsor, of course, the town of Mount Pleasant, and we also want to thank our platinum and gold sponsors as well. At this time, I'd like to introduce our president-elect, Mr. Eddie Phipps. Eddie will introduce our committees.
Thank you, Shane. I hope my sound is appropriate. Everybody can hear me. I would like to introduce our first committee update is philanthropy. Sorry, apologize. A little tongue-tied this morning. Marianne Lewis with Mosquito Squad and/or Nikki Barnett will have an update for us. And without any further ado, please welcome Nikki or Mariana.
Thank you so much, Eddie, Shane, Rebecca. Thank you for the continued hard work that y'all are doing out front and I know behind the scenes. Tamara, that goes for you as well. On behalf of the Philanthropy Committee and my co-chair, Nikki Burnett, we are so excited to be presenting for the 19th year the Joe Brinson Mount Pleasant Chamber Scholarship. This scholarship was started in 2001 and was named for then president of the Mount Pleasant Business Association, Dot Brinson. Joe Brinson, her husband, was both a successful businessman and great supporter of education. The board at that time approved the recommendation and the first Joe Brinson Scholarship Awards were presented in 2001. Again, for 19 years, each spring, we have been presenting scholarship awards to selected East Cooper High School seniors for their academic excellence, their extracurricular activities, and their community service. As y'all can see from the screen, we are so delighted to award this year's scholarship to Rachel Thornton. Rachel is a lifelong resident of Mount Pleasant. She is a proud graduate of Wando High School, Go Warriors. She is going to be attending Wofford College, where you can see she's going to be majoring in government and international affairs. Rachel is just one of those many deserving students, and many applied. But Rachel just really embodies the overall student and young adult. As far as her academic excellence, you can see that she carried a 3.3 GPA out of 4.0. Her extracurricular activities are varied and too long to list, but some of the highlights: she was a part of the track team, she was a part of the Spanish club, she was a part of Young Life, where she went on overseas mission trips to serve others. She plays the violin. One of the things that stood out to us is Rachel's desire to have a place that was inclusive for all kids at Wando to come before school and just to blow off some steam and be included in any way, shape, or form. And as such, she created a card playing club. And so for her 4 years at Wando, she headed that club up, and again, just opened her arms to anyone that wanted to come and just have a few minutes of solace and fun playing a simple game of cards. I just really, that kind of ingenuity in starting different kinds of clubs is just to be rewarded. Rachel, thank you for being so inclusive. Rachel, in addition to all of this, has consistently held down 2 jobs while she's been in high school. She is the daughter of 2 long-term servant leaders in the community, one as a nurse and the other as a police officer. And it is Rachel's desire, when she finishes Wofford, to come back to the area and give back to the community. Rachel, we could not be more pleased to award you this $5,000 Joe Brinson Memorial Scholarship. We wish you all the best and cannot wait to hear about your successes moving forward. Eddie, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Mariana, thank you. And again, congratulations to Rachel Thornton. And I appreciate all that y'all did to vet through all the applicants, and she has to be very excited. Without further ado, I will introduce the next expo, the next committee without any problems pronouncing it. It's the Expo Committee, and Michael Cochran from Farm Bureau Insurance is going to give us an update.
Thank you, Eddie. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for joining us today. Due to COVID-19 and the big pivot that we've experienced, the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce and the Expo Committee decided to, while everybody else is going to postpone their meetings and their business expos, we decided to move forward with an aggressive strategy for a virtual expo. We've got some very talented folks that are working very hard to bring you a world-class event. The event will be this year 10 days. Instead of a one-day event live and in person, it will now be a 10-day event from September the 21st through the 30th. And we have retained Cruise Subaru as our presenting sponsor. And I just want to say big special thanks to Benjamin Toy with On Purpose Adventures, who came up with this idea and is working feverishly to make sure that it comes together like it should. And we hope to present a great event for everybody and something that we can incorporate in future events. And Rebecca, if I can turn it over to you for a brief video with Ken French and Cruise Subaru.
this year. On behalf of our owner, Robert Cruz, our general manager, H.R. Hicks, and our entire owner, Robert Cruz, celebrate the 10th anniversary.
I'm going to start it over because the sound wasn't playing, so let's try this again. I want you to hear it. It's a great.
To celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Mount Pleasant Expo. So we're proud to join with the Mount Pleasant Chamber Expo to bring you the best virtual experience possible. For more information, go to mountpleasantchamber.org.
Rebecca, thank you for playing that for us. I know we had some sound difficulties on that. And folks, you can go to mountpleasantchamber.org or mountpleasantexpo.com, and that link will be provided for you to watch that fantastic intro video done by Ken French. And another special thanks to Mike Compton, who put that video together for us. He is the chairman of our marketing committee. And we're very thankful for all the folks that are working very hard to present a good virtual expo. Eddie, I'm going to turn it back over to you, sir.
Thanks, Michael. I apologize for the technical difficulties we've had. We've had some sound issues with Shane and my pronunciation, but I'm really excited about the expo. I think Benjamin Toy is going to put something really exciting together, and so we're happy to put that together. Thanks, Michael, again. Appreciate all your effort on that. Next committee, I would like to introduce Ben Knight and Sarah Wiggins with the membership. Are you on, Ben? You on there?
Eddie, thank you very much. I am on. I got to tell you, that's exciting. We're having 10 days of the expo to celebrate our 10th expo in the history of the Mount Pleasant Chamber. So that's fantastic. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk about one of the new members who heard about it and decided to join this virtual expo. It's a great opportunity to really promote your business. But first, I'd like to acknowledge our new members. In the gold category, we have home care assistants. They provide customized care to older adults so they can live happier, healthier lives at home. They champion the needs of seniors with a positive, empowering approach to aging that celebrates independence, dignity, and quality of life. So again, welcome home care assistants at the gold level. Next, 6 new members in the silver level. First is Brand Focus. Brand Focus Consulting helps grow businesses by designing better experiences and building a stronger brand presence. Next is Carolina One. Jeff Blome is a licensed realtor with Carolina One Real Estate who specializes in the sale of luxury, investment, new construction, and vacation homes. Next is Coin Coaching. Susan Coin coaches senior leaders, managers, and high potential individual contributors who want to ensure their success by not leaving it to chance. And Susan also acknowledged the fact that the virtual expo would be a great way to showcase her business as she joins the Mount Pleasant Chamber. So again, welcome to Coin Coaching. Next is KCON Incorporated, is a design build general contractor offering turnkey construction and renovation upfit services, engineering, site preparation, and installation. Next is the Roberts CPA firm. They focus on helping businesses and individuals that need guidance and solutions to reduce the amount of income taxes paid. You need them. And then Serendipity Labs, located at Portside Ferry Wharf in Mount Pleasant, offers safe, professional, and flexible workspace options for teams of all sizes. So again, I'd like to welcome those 7 new members to the Mount Pleasant Chamber. Even in the pandemic, they see the value of membership in Mount Pleasant Chamber. Next, I'd like to go to the member spotlight. Next slide, please. Thank you, Rebecca. The member spotlight, the first one is, the member spotlight is on Costco. Costco is getting ready to kick their annual Children's Miracle Network campaign on September the 1st to raise money for the MUSC Sean Jenkins Children's Hospital. employees host events and do crazy stunts on their registers to encourage its members to buy a balloon and donate. So if you're a Costco member, go spend money at Costco. If you're not a Costco member, join Costco and help this great event for the MUSC Shawn Jenkins Children's Hospital. The nonprofit spotlight is Trident United Way. Next slide, please. Thank you. Investors and partners represent a movement of people and organizations working together to create bold change. Some partner agencies are still delivering boxes of food to families in need, or you can host a non-perishable food drive. So again, I'd like to recognize Trident United Way for all the great work that they do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines for the race to 500. I don't know if the sound's going to work on this. I may have my stomach grumbling. There we go. There's the start to the race. So we're excited. We've got this race to 500. Again, we have 7 new members that have just recently joined. We're going to get to 500 new members by the end of November, and we're going to celebrate in December at our annual luncheon, or end of the year luncheon. There's a $500 pot for current members who refer the most members to join. There's also a $500 pot for new members. They have a chance to win one of 10 gift cards valued at $50 a piece. So get out there and bring some new members in. Shane, back to you.
Thank you, Ben.
Oh, Eddie, sorry.
No, that's all right. Thank you for everything that you're doing in the membership, that race to 500. I think we're really excited. I appreciate all the marketing involved in that. And to go back to the expo as part of that, really excited. Again, I apologize that you couldn't hear our good friend Ken French over there at Cruise Chevrolet, but I think if I had an opportunity to interpret what he was saying, he says you have a friend over at Cruise and to come by and purchase a Chevrolet or a Subaru over there with those guys. Next is our strategic partnership. Rebecca M. Holtz is going to give us an update. Rebecca, you there?
I am. So y'all will be glad to know that I'm not your IT department based on some of the technical difficulties today. So I help with strategic partnerships, and we've had a really great month. We did some awesome webinars. We really enjoy Mondays with the mayor. That's been a very popular weekly webinar where our chamber members can chat with Mayor Haney and Lauren Sims that you heard from earlier today from the town and get up-to-date information. So we enjoy that every Monday. Look forward to it. On Tuesdays, we have the Pivot, Living and Working During COVID-19. It's moderated by John Carroll. John, you heard from earlier today, who opened up the chamber with a beautiful prayer and a Pledge of Allegiance. John is on executive board for the chamber, and this past month we talked with the Charleston County School District about reopening schools. That certainly has been top of mind with everyone, and that was very informative with Erica Taylor, who is one of their officers there. We also talked with some members who've written a book, and they have followed their passion. They're authors now, and they've used their life experiences to write books. So if you thought about taking that on during COVID-19, we had a webinar about that. We talked about the very realistic economic realities of COVID-19. We had a great conversation with East Cooper Meals on Wheels, as well as our nonprofit spotlight today, Trident United Way. So that was really some great information. And then this week we had an informative conversation with some folks from print and media marketing, chamber members, all about seniors, and our own board member, Nikki Bernay with Local Trend, who has started a new direct mail company, Local Trend Charleston, and check that out. So great conversations. For our after hours this month, we had the South Carolina Chamber of Commerce. Ted Pitts, the CEO of the South Carolina Chamber. Members had an opportunity to provide input into the 2021 South Carolina Competitiveness Agenda. What I heard from the members in that conversation was folks are concerned about the rural areas, getting broadband width to them, as well as education funding, making that more equitable, amongst other issues. Of course, making sure that businesses during this have adequate revenue coming in, revenue streams certainly top of mind as well. If you were not able to go to that after hours, don't worry. We are going to be sending out a survey with all the same questions. I'll be sending that email out later today, so please look for that. Upcoming or before 9 this month is at the Hyatt Place Town Center, part of Rains Hospitality Group, our own Jennifer Maxwell, who's on the board. Looking forward to that. Unfortunately, it's not going to be in person. It's going to be virtual networking. We've had a lot of fun with those. We get a chance, sort of like the Brady Bunch idea, where we're all on the screen together. We introduce ourselves, talk about our businesses, show off our favorite coffee mugs. And the next one is going to be August 25th. We start at 8:30 in the morning. We go about 45 minutes. Look for that. That's on our calendar as well. Thank you so much, Eddie.
Rebecca, thank you for that update. I'd like now to introduce, without further ado, and our only straight out, what are you doing? I see.
Marketing. We got some marketing to do.
Saw Cunningham pop up there real quick.
Sorry, here we go.
You're good. So straight out of Mike Compton for our marketing. Mark, are you on there?
I'm on. Yes.
So, give us an update. Really excited about the 500, and thank you for all your marketing expertise. We really appreciate it.
Of course. No, thank you, Eddie. And thanks to the board as well. Yeah, true to Mount Pleasant Chamber Forum, we've got a lot on our plate, which is great. We're doing marketing support for the expo, which we're very excited about, and as well as the Race to 500, which is going well too. As you can see on our social media, is doing pretty well, coming straight out the gates with these first 2 campaigns that we only started about a month ago and are still just now starting for the expo. So please do share. Any kind of social engagement would be great from our membership. Comments, shares, likes, at the very least. It all helps with our marketing campaigns and getting to that 500 mark and making the best expo as possible. Special thanks to our new Mount Pleasant Chamber member, Bruce Fensky of Brand Focus, for his creative direction help on our marketing team. He's leading our marketing team as our creative director, and he's just doing a fantastic job, and I'm super happy to have him on the team, and look him up if you need help. Also, special thanks to the Moultrie News for their great coverage. Really appreciate that. We're hitting all cylinders and all mediums here on the marketing side. So thanks for your time, and I'm looking forward to the future. Eddie, back to you.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Thank you for all of your work. Really excited. If most of y'all may not know or may know, but Mike Compton is new on the board, new for the marketing. Really excited to have you on there. I think we're gonna have the 500 is gonna happen very quickly, and a lot of that's gonna be because of your effort. So appreciate it. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris Stobbs. He's going to introduce our Congressman, Joe Cunningham, U.S. Representative. If you have some questions that you would like to ask Mr. Cunningham, there's a chat box, you could send those questions and we'll get those to him. I think we're running a little bit early on the schedule, which is good, because Mr. Cunningham's a lawyer like me, and we all like to hear ourselves speak. So maybe he'll pick up that pace and get us back to where we need to be on the schedule. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Chris Stobbs, our President Emeritus. And Chris, you on there?
I'm on here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good. All right. Nice.
Make sure you pronounce Joe's name correctly.
Like Philanthropy. All right. Yeah, I'm putting a tie on today. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming and attending our meeting today. So I get the honor of introducing Congressman Joe Cunningham, who it seems I get to see about once a week now. I go to different events. He's out there meeting with his constituents, answering questions, and talking generally about what's going on in Washington and how he's serving the Lowcountry. So Congressman Cunningham represents South Carolina's 1st congressional district, which, if you don't know, includes our area, Mount Pleasant, Charleston, Kiowa, Hilton Head, generally the coastal areas here in South Carolina. He serves on the House Natural Resources and the House Veteran Affairs Committee. Prior to his election to Congress, Congressman Cunningham was an attorney and ocean engineer. And I would say that he probably is still an attorney, of course, because that's the way we are. We're licensed attorneys. We're attorneys for life. In Congress, his priorities include reinstating the ban on offshore drilling off of our Atlantic coast here, infrastructure investment, protecting and creating low-country jobs, combating climate change, lowering the cost of healthcare and prescription drugs. Congressman Cunningham is also working to ensure low-country veterans and their families receive the best and most reliable care, services, and benefits. By way of background, Congressman Cunningham attended College Charleston, where he obtained his Bachelor of Science in Ocean Engineering, and Florida Atlantic University. And he received his Juris Doctorate degree, his law degree, from the Northern Kentucky University. He lives on James Island with his wife, Amanda, and their son, Boone, and their dog, Teddy. So please join me in giving Congressman Cunningham a warm Chamber of Commerce welcome.
Hey, Chris, thanks so much for having me on here. Really an honor to be here with everyone. I wish we could do this in person, but I guess these are the times right now. I want to just start off briefly. I know we're gonna get to the Q&A here in a bit. I'm very interested to hear where everyone's thoughts are and what's on everyone's mind. First and foremost, hope everybody's staying safe and healthy, and that your families are safe as well. Very stressful times for small businesses, for individuals, for everyone. And we will get through this, and as long as we continue to work together. I'm heading back up to DC on Saturday to deal with the U.S. Postal Service issue there. But I am, just like many of you all, incredibly frustrated that Congress has not hammered out a deal yet for another stimulus package. I know there's a lot of things at play right now, but I mean, people have to stay at the negotiating table. And Chris, you and I know this, attorneys on here know this, in mediation, you have to be at the table, and you have to continue negotiating in good faith in order to, get things done. And recognizing that in a divided government, nobody is going to get everything that they want. It's just not going to happen. And we shouldn't let perfect be the enemy of good. But the administration, Senate leadership, House leadership, all of them should be at the table or have representatives at the table in order to negotiate another stimulus package. So I'm frustrated that we haven't gotten one done yet, but still remain optimistic something can get done so long as people remain at the table and keep on negotiating. I will say, though, in light of this pandemic and with everything else going on, we've been able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We've been able to get a lot of legislation through. You all may have seen the president just signed into law the Great American Outdoors Act. That was our House bill that we introduced. It permanently funds the Land Water Conservation Fund. And for those who don't know, the LWCF is the best part about it is it's not funded by any taxpayer dollars. It's collected from funds collected from royalties from oil and gas sales. And traditionally, it's been used to acquire green spaces, preserves, parks, and every single county in South Carolina has benefited from the LWCF, and none so more than our beloved Lowcountry. I mean, chances are everybody on this call has visited a place, whether it be Pitt Street Bridge, Waterfront Park, Folly Beach Pier, Hunting Island State Park. There's just tons of parks that have benefited from the LWCF. So the permanent funding of that was key. Another part of the bill was the Restore Our Parks Act, which provided billions of dollars in maintenance to cure the maintenance backlog, like the maintenance issues out there at Fort Sumter, whether it be a new dock or dredging. There's a lot of upkeep that is required for our national parks, and it's important that those dollars continue to cure the maintenance backlog, so you can get more users in town, more tourists visiting, more dollars flowing into our economy. So big win. We also had the president sign our veterans bill that would allow them to appeal their benefits claims through Zoom or Skype instead of having to drive. Big win for veterans as well. So we've gotten a lot done in this first session as far as getting bills passed and to the president's desk. And I think that just goes to show you what can happen when you work together. And it's something that we ran on and talked about working with both sides of the aisle. And it's why I've been named the most bipartisan freshman member, and I think one of the top bipartisan members in Congress. And it's why we've gotten recent awards for like the Spirit Award from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, recognizing our bipartisanship. So a lot to talk about, but there's still so much more to get done. But those are some of the things that we've been focused on, as you mentioned, Chris. The Veterans Affairs Committee, Natural Resources Committee is where the lion's share of my work comes from within committees in my jurisdiction. But obviously, we have to focus on every problem at hand, including this pandemic and getting relief to small businesses and the people who need them most. So, without further ado, though, Chris, I think we'd love to open up for questions and hear what other folks have to say, and what's on everyone else's mind.
I'll go ahead and jump in with some questions then, if that's okay, Chris. Shane? So
Excellent.
one of the questions go ahead.
Yep, that's excellent. Go ahead, Rebecca. Thank you.
Sure. So one of the questions we received, Congressman, was from one of our members who said that, in a nutshell, what are the Democratic plans for more affordable health care? We're a family of 3, 2 adults, 1 child. Our premiums through my husband's work is still $11,000 a year, as much as our mortgage.
Yeah, I completely sympathize. I think the cost of prescription drugs and health insurance has just gone through the roof. And you look back at what the ACA did, the Affordable Care Act, and what is by no means perfect, but what it sought to do was take big pharma out of the driver's seat and put patients above profits. And you look at what the House has done in the last 2 years. We passed about a dozen bills, bipartisan bills, that drive down the cost of prescription drugs. You contrast that with some Republicans' efforts to gut the ACA and kick people off their insurance because of pre-existing conditions during the middle of a pandemic. I think that runs counter to our values and who we are. My first meeting that I took as a member of Congress was with a group of children, diabetic children, who spoke to me on the hardships, and their parents were there too, the financial hardships of paying for insulin, keeping a vial at school and one at home. And this is hurting our families. And I think there should be nothing political about the cost of prescription drugs or the cost of health insurance. This should be driven by what's best for patients and what's best for consumers. We voted on a bill that would allow Medicare to negotiate the price of prescription drugs, and which would be saving the taxpayer about $500 billion. There's a lot of ways that we can drive down the cost of drugs, drive down the cost of healthcare, health insurance, and cut money from our national debt. But we have to work together, and it's been highly discouraging to see people politicize this issue when it shouldn't be, because the households that are being impacted, they're Democrats, they're Republicans, they're independents. Makes no difference. In the greatest country on earth, the fact that we're paying so much more for prescription drugs and health insurance, I think it goes to show to who's really running the program there and who's really in charge. It's why we campaigned on no money from PACs, special interest, and because oftentimes they want something in return for that. So that's why we're beholden to people and folks in the 1st District and no one else. But I think we have to change a lot of things with our politics, but otherwise you're going to see the terrible impacts it's having, like on that gentleman and his family, and the outrageous price they're paying for health insurance.
Thank you so much. This person would like your thoughts on Trump's use of federal troops in Portland, Oregon, as well as the slowdown right now going on with the post office. You did mention that you're going back to Washington to address what's going on with the United States Postal Service earlier, but we'll start with the use of federal troops in Oregon.
Yeah, obviously, people's rights have to be respected. Your right to peacefully assemble when it turns violent, those things need to be brought under control. And so, you know, I don't think you can do one size fits all, but people have to be afforded due process. As an attorney, and as attorneys listening on here, they recognize that as well. But there's no place for violent demonstrations and violent mobs, or any form of protection for that in our Constitution. And again, at the same time, people's rights must be respected and afforded due process, and it has to be handled in a way that's in line with our Constitution. As it relates to the Postal Service, I'm highly disappointed in these attacks on the U.S. Postal Service. It's just it's egregious, really, the fact that this administration is politicizing this issue. And make no mistake, that's what's being done whenever he files a lawsuit to stop mail-in voting in one state, and then advocates for it down in Florida where it may benefit him. And you know who's really hurting and who's caught in the crossfire? Our veterans. You know, who 80% of whom are at home and receive their medications through the mail service. 90% of that mail service is through the USPS. When they're getting 3 months prescriptions filled, every single day counts. Or it may be the seniors who are still getting their Social Security checks through the mail, or it may be small businesses who are relying on mail, you know, to keep their doors open. It could also be as simple as someone sending in a check or to pay their electric bill, or getting an invoice back later on, and then having their utilities shut off. The effects, when you start going down this route and thinking about the effects of the cuts that are being made to the USPS are highly concerning. Highly concerning. The fact that they're being done for political purposes makes it that much worse. So, you know, we're going back up there on Saturday to pass legislation to shore that up, to deal with that. And then hopefully the Senate will follow suit. Hopefully we have enough good, upstanding people in the U.S. Senate to recognize that that things should go beyond partisan politics. This is definitely one of them as well.
Thank you. This next question comes from two different members. Folks have been asking about term limits, and I know politicians say there are term limits, or that they're going to have that each voting cycle. How can we really have term limits so for the long-term folks, both sides of the aisle, they can ride into the sunset, so new ideas can get introduced? So term limits.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm a fan of them. I'm actually, I think, one of two Democrats in the House that have signed on to a bill advocating for term limits. You know, a bill passing and a constitutional amendment. Obviously, these are very, very high bars to jump over. I think the best way, honestly, is to elect members who advocate for the same and who hold themselves to that same. And something we ran on of term limits. You know, I want to be back in Charleston. My son Boone, he's 2 years old. He's talking up a storm and repeating a lot of words, some of which he probably shouldn't be repeating right now. But, you know, I want to be back in Charleston, putting him on the school bus when he starts school. And I don't, you know, the back and forth, it's you know, I want to do the best I can for my country and for the Lowcountry, and then come back home. I think that, you know, our founding fathers didn't intend for this to be a job you stay in for 20, 30, 40 years. And, you know, I practice law in Charleston. And, you know, I wanted to make a difference, but it's not something I intended to make a career out of. So the term limits are something I support, you know, both in our campaign and on the issues we ran on, but also when the rubber hits the road by sponsoring legislation to adopt the same. So I'll just say but the strongest way to advocate for that is to, you know, obviously support members whose interests line up in that regard.
This next question may not be within your jurisdiction. It's a local question. It's something that's come up a lot with our conversations with Mayor Haney. There's some frustration amongst residents because there have been some restrictions put into place with our Charleston beach communities. And we know that with COVID-19, being outdoors seems to be pretty safe and is encouraged to get great exercise and sunshine right now. Any thoughts on how to streamline access more to our beaches.
Yeah, I've read a little bit of that, and I think things are moving pretty quickly. I think I read that one of the beaches recently lifted their restriction on parking, which, you know, I applaud the local mayors for for lifting that. Again, this is something that's going to be done on a case-by-case basis, and I've really been more focused on the COVID relief package, the tax on our USPS, than I have been in municipality parking.
Certainly understand. What do you consider to be your two biggest accomplishments during your 2 years as a representative so far?
Well, I think delivering on the promises we made. You know, the first and foremost, passing a bipartisan bill that banned offshore drilling in the House, something that passed overwhelmingly, and like I said, with bipartisan support. So I was happy that Democrats and Republicans came together on that. Disappointed that Senators Graham and Scott have not picked that up in the Senate yet to run that through, especially considering with the president's declaration that we're energy independent now. Seemed like it'd be a good time to run that bill through on the Senate side. But you know, we got a lot of environmental wins. The Great American Outdoors Act, I spoke to briefly. I won't review that again, but that's being hailed as one of the best environmental conservation pieces in half a century. Obviously, any win and victory we bring back for our veterans, and just the, you know, I think you look at, you talk about what our victories are. They're victories for the Lowcountry, essentially. You know, yesterday we had a press conference over at the port talking about the dredging project and how we were able to secure the money. And I was there with Senator Graham, and we talked about, you know, bringing back $132 million to help dredge the Charleston Harbor to its desired depth, which would make it the deepest port along the eastern seaboard. That's a huge win. That's not a partisan win. That's a huge win for the Lowcountry and for our economy. I think about the $18 million grant for the bridge that's going to cross the Ashley River, and construction is supposed to start, I think, next year, which will alleviate traffic. That's a huge win. You know, and like I said, not along party lines, just a huge win for the Lowcountry. And so whether it be the money we brought back for Paris Island or any of those things, I feel like we got a lot to talk about, and a lot of victories that we've chalked up. And that's all been done on the backdrop of a divided government, which goes to show you what can be done when folks put themselves out there to work together and say that I'm willing to listen to you, you have to listen to me, and we have to understand each other to get things done.
So since you've been in Washington, what is your biggest surprise with how folks from both sides interact publicly and privately?
That's a great question. I would say that you know, people get along a lot better than you portray on TV. You know, you get Fox News and CNN. They portray the loudest and oftentimes amplified polarization. When I got up there, you know, set out on a mission to you know, make as many friends as possible. That's in part why I was bringing beer up there to the House for. But just to join as, you know, the groups in which I can establish relationships, which later on I could build upon. That's why I joined the Problem Solvers Caucus, which is a caucus of half Democrats, half Republicans. And they're great policy meetings every single week and great discussions on practical approaches to our nation's problems. You know, the prayer breakfast is something that I'd go to when I was up in DC, and they're having it. Again, bipartisan, where you establish these relationships, you understand people, so later on you can go to them and say, you know, hey, this is an issue I'm looking at, love your input, would love your support. You know, I think that establishing those friendships, those relationships, especially when it's somebody from across the aisle, is a great way to build trust and to help ultimately deliver results for your district and for this nation.
Final question from me at the moment. Did your brother really steal two of your girlfriends?
You know, I would say probably, I think, yeah, that's it kind of depends how you define steal and Yeah, I would say, look, it was a very rough and tough family growing up in, and so you had to be able to take a punch, and then you also had to be able to land one as well. And so Luke is the closest in my age. He's like a year and a half older than me, so he was a year ahead of me in school. And so, but Luke also likes to inflate his own ego. So I got a few stories to tell on Luke as well. I just didn't get opportunity to say that on TV this past time.
Well, I raised 3 sons myself, so I certainly empathize with your mother. She had a very busy household, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We do have one question from our president-elect, Eddie Phipps. What is your question for the congressman today?
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Congressman, for spending time with us. We appreciate it. My question is, it's probably true to your heart. I'm curious to what your favorite beer is.
Local beer is the easiest answer, Eddie. I like a lot. I like a lot of IPAs. You know, I think, look, we're fortunate to have a lot of great breweries in this district. Westbrook is a top one. Low Tide is up there as well. Charlestown Fermentory in West Ashley is incredible too. But I like those higher octane IPAs. Real get her dones. Those to me are the tastiest.
Well, again, I appreciate. Have you heard any issues with, you know, the COVIDs? I'm hearing rumors that a lot of those guys are struggling and they're going to have some difficulty, possibly even closing down. Have you heard of that, and or any thoughts of what we can do to help them?
Yeah, I mean, we hear about it every single day, and it's unfortunate because these people were the ones who are being held hostage by the partisan bickering that exists in Washington, D.C., by the people who will leave the negotiating table, and it drives me wild. You know, just drives me mad to think that this is those businesses are the collateral damage of people not putting aside their partisan differences and working together. So, you know, it's incredibly frustrating, and I think that there's obviously the PPP funds went over really well. People were able to get access to them. Some people abuse them, but that's why we have some oversight set up now as well, and it's why we've hammered on people who took them and should not have taken them in the first place. I think that, you know, we learned a lot from that first round as far as the extending 8 weeks to 12 weeks on the time frame to use those funds. The 75-25 requirement, which was reduced to 60-40. You know, recognizing not the same size fits all for small businesses, but I hope we can take those lessons and apply those in the future. But we have to get to the point where we're able to get something done, because you know, we can't continue down this path. We need to get this economy back up and humming to the place it was, especially down here in Charleston, especially here in the Lowcountry. Things were going very well before this, and it's not, you know, I'm hell bent on getting it back there.
Well, I again appreciate that. And talking, it's just real quick. Sorry, Rebecca. In regards to that, I appreciate you. You know, as you're looking for that next round of PPP or whatever, however you're going to manage that. You know, one thing that concerned me and bothered me was a lot of that money. A lot of people that shouldn't have got the money, and they've abused it. I hope that they do have some insight and do go, you know, investigate and vet through those, because I really feel like the people that were really hurting the most didn't get that money. A lot of people were able to quickly go to their banks, quickly obtain the money, drained it, and now, and I just know from some lingering rumors and whatnot, you know, some of the people taking that money and buying houses. You know, they're not using it.
Or cars. We've read stories that, you know, egregious matters. And you know, those people who have abused the system and falsified documents, you know, should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, because it's those small businesses here in the Lowcountry that they got the short end of the stick, that were not able to get that first round when it really mattered, and then when they had to lay off people. I mean, these are people's lives that you're dealing with and people's livelihoods, and trying to put food on the table. And so to have people abuse the system in that same manner, I'm as pissed off as anyone else is about it.
Well, I'm checking out. I'm going to turn it back over to Rebecca. Again, Joe, appreciate it. Appreciate everything you're doing.
Yeah, good seeing you, Eddie. Thanks.
I'll see you in, I'll buy the beer.
All right, or two.
One more quick question, Congressman, because it's a very good, timely question. What advice do you have for citizens of this country about where to get real news to help inform our decision in the voting booth?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think your local news is a good source. I think you really start getting into the national news networks. I think, you know, there's an inherent bias on both sides of it. You know, you have Fox News, which leans to the right. You have CNN, which leans to the left. I always think that, you know, local news is a good source of information, and obviously, you know, from the candidates themselves, or the people themselves. You know, what's frustrating during this pandemic is, you know, you used to be able to just go out there and listen to them and attend a rally or speech or whatever, or you know, in our case, and meet us at a brewery in 2018 and come up and ask any question you want to. This pandemic has significantly stifled those conversations. So I think you're left with whatever news you get offline, or you get in print, or over the TV. But I do think that, you know, you look at some of the bigger networks, I think that there is an inherent slant in it. So I think the local stations and local papers do a good job of putting things out there, if and when you aren't able to get to the people, the candidates, the elected officials themselves.
You do hear a lot in the news about the progressive wing of the Democratic Party dragging the party to the far left. Are you concerned about that?
Well, look, I think that where most people are in this country is somewhere around the middle. Some people may be to a little bit left on social issues, or to the right on fiscal issues. And I wouldn't mistake tweets, followers, or the amount of airtime another member of Congress gets and equate that with power, because it simply does not exist. I have the same number of votes as anyone else does in the House of Representatives. And, you know, you look at, you know, what's been done this session in the House. It hasn't been these far left pieces of legislation. You know, it hasn't been the Green New Deal or Medicare for all, or any of those other things that which I haven't supported and don't support. It's been bipartisan bills to drive down the cost of prescription drugs. It's been bipartisan bills to ban offshore drilling. It's been bipartisan bills to fund our military. I mean, so look, I mean, you can listen to whatever pundits you want to on TV, or follow whoever you want to on Twitter and Facebook, but the fact remains that like I said, the majority of the country is somewhere around the middle. And what's unfortunate is, going back to the cable news networks, is that they give a lot of platforms to both the far left and the far right. It exists on both sides. But it's important to remember that that's done because that's what gets clicks. That's what sells things, sells airtime, and I would not equate it with power or influence in the slightest regard.
We're not quite at 1 o'clock. We're almost there. So I do want to get one more question in that came through while we were talking. The regards to U.S. Postal Service, should it pay for itself? And I realize that you might have more insight into that after this weekend, but should the U.S. Postal Service pay for itself?
Look, you know, it's imperative that it receives the funding that it needs. Obviously per the Constitution and per what's outlined. The key issue here, like I said, going back to where we stayed before, is that this impacts so many more people than just mail-in ballots, and it's being hijacked for political purposes. It needs the funding that it deserves and that it needs in order to carry prescription drugs from a pharmacy to a veteran's house, or a Social Security check to someone's house. You can't disrupt people's lives and threaten their health just for the sake of partisan purposes and for the sake of politics. That's not who we are as a country, and that's something we're standing up against.
Well, thank you so much, Congressman Joe Cunningham. We so appreciate your time today. I want to also give a special thanks to your staff. They've been delightful to work with in organizing this today. And awesome. I wish you all the best and a great week. And thank you again for your time with the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Stay safe and healthy, everyone.
All right,
Hello,
Rebecca.
Hi.
Let's try this again. Is the sound better now? I don't know.
It is better. We have certainly had our fair share of technical difficulties today, haven't we? We were on smooth sailing for such a long time with these luncheons, but keeping us on our toes.
It's unfortunate. We thank everybody that is on the call today for bearing with us. We obviously thank the Congressman Joe Cunningham for being on with us today and providing some great content and answering a lot of questions. So we thank him very much for that. And we also thank his staff for that as well. Am I still sounding okay, Rebecca?
You are. Looking good too.
All right, excellent. Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't take a moment because I didn't get a chance at the beginning to thank my board and recognize my board. We cannot do what we do without the board and without the members and without the sponsors. So we thank all of them very much, but I want to highlight my board. Of course, my name is Shane Griffin. I'm the president of the organization through the end of the year. I'm also with News Radio 94.3 WSC. You've seen the lovely and talented Eddie Phipps. He is our president-elect and will be our new president come January 1st of 2021. Thanks to Eddie for picking it up today and helping out when I was having some technical issues. Our vice president is Jennifer Maxwell. Our president emeritus is Chris Dobbs, Secretary Kathy Herman, and our treasurer, the money man, is Joe Hinsky. And a thanks to Brian Sherman and John Carroll, who are two at-large board members and two of the longest-serving members in the organization. You saw many of the committee chairs today. I want to thank them: Philanthropy, Mariana Lewis and Nikki Bernay. Membership is Ben Knight and Sarah Wiggins. The expo is Michael Cochran. Programs, Vicki Boyd and Alex Shee. Rebecca Imholtz is handling strategic partnerships. Great job being done by all of the committees. And we also want to thank Mike Compton for the great job he's doing with marketing. Our general counsel is Eddie Phipps. I also want to recognize our staff. Rebecca is our director of development. We thank her for her efforts and all that she's doing to help us behind the scenes. Also a thanks to Tamara Cornwall, who is our administrative assistant. Also want to thank our support services. Our social media is being done by Amanda Bunting Coleman from Social ABCs. Amanda does a great job at helping us manage our social media, and we thank her for that. And also want to thank our friends over at Neck Galaxy Studios / Stingray Branding. Kim Swanger and Alan Thompson do great work over there. So we thank them very much for that. So I did not want to end the meeting without saying thank you to the board, to the staff, and to the support services group for all that they do for us. With that being said, Rebecca, I think it's time to give away some prizes. Is that right?
That sounds like a great plan. I'm going to try to share the screen here with the list of prizes. If not, we'll just read them out. So we're very much into Plan B, C, and D today. So I don't know if folks can see that. I'm going to scroll on down to the prize slide, and here we go.
So you have the random number generator, the RNG, ready to go?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Well, you see our first prize there. We have a 1-hour massage courtesy of Elements Massage. And Rebecca, the winner is?
Hold on. It's one of our new members. It's Bruce Fensky with Brand Focus. Congratulations, Bruce.
Excellent. Congratulations, Bruce, and thank you for being a new member of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. We certainly appreciate you seeing the value in us. Our next prize is a $50 gift card courtesy of Lowe's. Lowe's is very popular right now, that is for sure. My wife and I have been visiting Lowe's just about every weekend. So the winner is
Darren Felty with Trident Technical College. He's the dean over here in Mount Pleasant. I'm sure Darren will enjoy that.
Excellent. Congratulations. That's a worthy prize there. $50 to Lowe's. Who can't use this right now with all the time we're spending at home? Moving along to the next prize, a 1-hour massage or facial courtesy of Massage Envy Spa.
And the winner is Joan Walsh, and she is with Cashbox Coaching. So congratulations, Joan. Enjoy that massage.
Excellent. Congratulations. Next prize is a 1/6 of a page, 3x7 color ads, courtesy of our friends over at the Moultrie News. And the winner is?
Hold on. Karen Bryant with Ace Preferred Home Inspections. Congratulations, Karen. That's an awesome, awesome prize.
Excellent. And our next prize is 3 rooms of carpet cleaned and sanitized, or $100 off any other service courtesy of Zero Res. Funny story. I actually called Emily over at Zero Res to have her come and clean the carpets in my new house. We've been here for about a year, and we just recently got a new puppy. And about a week from the appointment, I called her and moved it to the end of September because the new puppy is absolutely destroying the upstairs carpet. And so I didn't want to get those carpets cleaned if there were lots of accidents, if you know what I mean. So Emily and her team over at Zero Res, they do a great job. I've used them before, so this is going to be a great prize for somebody. The winner is Marcy Thrash.
Congratulations, Marcy. Marcy is with the Wando High School ROTC. She's one of the active parents there representing their boosters. So congratulations, Marcy.
Excellent. And it looks like, Rebecca, that Eddie would like to give away a bottle of candy vodka. If
Hold on.
Up and running, we'd like to give away a bottle of vodka if that's possible.
Can we? Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull it back up again. And I have as the winner, Brian Sherman, who was on our board.
Oh,
Yay, Brian. Brian wins a lot.
Yeah, congratulations to Brian Sherman, who was won the bottle of candy vodka courtesy of Eddie Phipps and candy vodka. So we thank our prize giveaway folks here today. Thank you very much for coming up with the prizes to give away to our membership. We thank you for your support. We also thank our municipal sponsor, the town of Mount Pleasant, and also thanks to our platinum and our gold sponsors as well. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to say that at the beginning of the meeting, but do want to say a thank you very much to our sponsors. We could not do what we do without our sponsors, our members, and obviously our board. So we are continuing to move in a solid direction. As I mentioned at the beginning of the luncheon today, you probably didn't hear it, but we are on sound financial footing thanks to the decisions made by the board this year and by boards in years past, and also thanks to the leadership of our president emeritus, Chris Staub. So we are grateful for being on sound financial footing, and we thank you as members for coming on board and seeing the value that we are creating for you, because it is all about you and providing you with the very best content as humanly possible. So we thank you very much for your patience with us today with these technical difficulties. We are grateful to Representative Cunningham for coming on and providing some great content and also answering a lot of questions. So thanks to him for that. I will leave you with this note. It is a motivational poem that I found called "That Little Voice." I think this will resonate with you. It did with me for sure. Do you hear that voice? That little voice, the one inside your head. You make a choice, and that little voice says, "No, you can't," instead. So silence that voice, that little voice, and show it who is boss. Don't let that voice, that little voice, be the master of opportunities lost. Again, thank you very much for your patience with us today. Thank you for attending. As I always like to say, stay healthy, be safe, keep moving forward. We'll see you soon.